Welcome into I Said What I Said. I'm Brad Wakai. That's Tyson Gentry. This is the college football week 10 betting episode today. Got a ton of picks for you. Tyson and I couldn't do our reaction show earlier in the week. Tyson got a little sick. I mean, it's snowing in Montana. Cut him a break,
Yep.
people. And I was busy myself. So when Tyson was sick, I was like, I got some other stuff I got to take care of. So we'll be back early next week, first of all, to give our reactions. You should be feeling a little bit better. But Tyson, we actually had a good week this week. How about that on the gambling front?
I know normally when I pretend to be sick, it's so I can hide from these things, but I had to get back on the saddle for this one. We don't get a victory lap very much on the college football show, especially for our picks. So yeah, dude, this is the most green we've seen all season between the two of us.
And let's get to it, man. So I went 8-5 plus 2.24 units. I thought I was me carrying. I'll let you get to yours in a bit here, but Louisville, Boston College, that started things off with the over 53.5 on Friday. That was great. Tulane, North Texas, rocking chair over at 66.5. UConn, sweaty, but got home -6.5. BYU, UCF, over 53.5 gets home. West Virginia, Arizona, over 52.5. Shout out college kickers. I used to hate them. I love them now. That was the same thing for Kansas State, Cincinnati, Colorado, over 55.5 and 56.5. Shout out college kickers. And then Penn State -6.5 gets home. That play, that could have gone off the rails, so I was glad for that. Play of the week, missed another one. Boise State, UNLV, over 64.5. I take that 10 times out of 10 if you watch that game. I mean, how many times were they in the red zone, both of them, and they settled for field goals? So I'm okay with losing that. Notre Dame, Navy, well, Notre Dame scored 51, so the under 51.5 was not even close to hitting. Probably the worst play we've had all week. Washington plus 6.5, thought it was the spot, tried to catch the falling knife. I lost a couple digits because that thing just sliced my finger off as the Indiana train keeps rolling. Tyson wins the mano-a-mano matchup there. Memphis -17.5. I knew I shouldn't have played it. Stepped right into it. Lost that one. And James Madison -24. Thought we could get a backdoor push. Not the case. But I'll take 2.24 units, Tyson. That's for sure.
Yeah, heck of a week. I got my play, or I guess I went 6-2 last week, plus 3.4 units. My play of the week, Boston College, plus 7.5. The home dogs on Friday, dude. It's just, I don't know what's going on. It's something crazy. And then you said last week that we're either going to have a good week or a bad week because we had a lot of similar plays, and it ended up being good. I was on Colorado -6.5. You hit the over. I was on Penn State, Wisconsin under 48. You hit Penn State -6.5. Tulane, North Texas, we were on together, that over. We were on the BYU UCF over together. I went against you with Indiana. I can't believe you did it to your brother, to your blood, to your own family.
I did it for him.
You tried to take Washington. Well, that was a noble sacrifice. Illinois plus 22. I said it was going to be a backdoor spot, and gosh dang it, I thought we were going to get it a couple times there at the end. Nobody wanted the football to end that game. And the Notre Dame Navy, dude, we knew that Navy couldn't defend inside zone and power football, and they're too little, and they're going to get pushed around. And we just thought, oh, dude, it's going to be like 17-10. It's going to be a sweet game. We're stupid.
Yeah, and Tyson, I got to call you out a little bit though, because this is 2 weeks in a row you go against your boy Dan Lanning after you're saying he's the best coach in college football. What's going on here?
Well, the numbers are big, man, and to be fair, they're blowing the doors off everybody. I'm just waiting for it to end because nobody else in college football is doing that. So, shout out to them. I guess I'll stay away from. They're my new BYU. I can't bet against.
And yeah, oh boy. I'm glad we didn't take UCF this week. Enough of looking in the past, Tyson. 5.41 units. I'm down on the year. You're down 6.89. So as a show, 12.3. But our best week. We still got plenty of football left. That's what we've been preaching. So we'll hope we build another one here as we look ahead to week 10.
It's money-making time.
And Tyson, you have the tee box, my friend. You had the best week, so you lead us off.
Yeah, I thought you were never getting it back after week one, and then I just went straight into the gutter. I'm going to start it off here with Washington money line. They're playing at home at night against USC, a USC team that's left a lot to be desired. Washington's a little bit more physical, I think, than people are giving them credit for. Much like last year, it's a different team than last year, obviously, but I think they have the horses to be able to beat Lincoln Riley and USC at home and really kind of not put a bow on their season, but this would be huge, beating Michigan and USC in the same year and kind of a transition season here for Washington.
Yeah, that should be an interesting game. I was thinking about taking that with you, but Tyson, my play of the week, I'm going to go to Ole Miss here, -7. I'm buying it down from the 7.5. It's -127 on DraftKings, so it's a little juicy, but I'd rather have that here on this number against an Arkansas team coming off a huge win, right? They're feeling themselves, they're feeling good. Power ratings wise, this is 5.5 and 9.4. So you kind of look at that and you're like, well, there's a range there. But Tyson, I think this Ole Miss defense is legit. They are third in stopping the run on EPA basis, 28th in stopping the pass on the EPA basis. Now, Arkansas is banged up in the running game. So the Taylon Green RPO, not quite going to work as well. So at 32nd in EPA per rush, kind of take that with a grain of salt for this matchup. And they're 48th in EPA per pass. But the problem is, I think when you just focus on throwing the football, and that's the only thing you can do, that's where you get into trouble a little bit. Now, on the flip side, Ole Miss 25th in EPA per rush, 6th in EPA per pass, going up against a defense that's 38th and 60th in those numbers, respectively. Plus, Ole Miss 13th in Eckel. This Arkansas defense 92nd. So, Tyson, I think we finally see these Ole Miss explosive plays. Arkansas fails to cover, or at least stay in this game, and Ole Miss is able to at least hit the 7. So we push, or we cover it and cash this bet.
Did you say it was 5.5 and 9.4?
Yes, sure.
So you lose this by 0.1 or 0.01, whatever that equals. I mean, this is a 6.9 point game all the way. I think you're going to end up pushing this thing. It's going to be funny. I'm going with Navy minus 10.5 here. This is kind of a spot where you like the service academies whenever it's like right around this 2 touchdown mark when they're not playing Notre Dame. I suppose last week you picked against Rice, and my only analysis was Rice sucks. And I'm still on that bandwagon. It ended up being a lot closer than we thought it was going to be a week ago. But I think Navy just pounds the football and gets it done.
Friday night action, Boise State minus 23.5, minus 108 on DraftKings. I'm going back to it. Tyson, normally we stay away from a Saturday, Friday spot. You have a less time to prepare. Boise State played Friday night. So you can kind of look at this as there might be a come down after beating UNLV. This is not the matchup for me that suggests that. Now, San Diego State has been better in conference play in the Mountain West than they have been earlier in the year. But I'm just looking at the matchup on paper. Boise State's first in EPA per rush. We know the Ashton Genty thing. He was bottled up against UNLV. He still had like 150 yards. So I think he eats this week. They're 21st also in EPA per pass. Going up against a defense that's 114th and 90th. Like this, they're not going to have a problem moving the football. Then the San Diego State offense, I don't know if any of you guys have watched it. It's been ugly. They're 123rd in EPA per rush, 115th EPA per pass. And this Boise State defense, as they showed against UNLV, is legit 28th and 37th, stopping the run and pass, respectively, on an EPA basis. So, Tyson, I think Boise State gets out. I'm worried about maybe a backdoor here, but if you're just able to run the football successfully, we talked about that. Get up to a lead, have explosive plays running, and then you're fine.
We thought we lost that Genty Heisman ticket 3 times probably during that UNLV game, and then you look up at the end and you're like, yeah, it was fine. It was enough. Hopefully, this is a week where you can kind of remind people. But I'm going my next one here, Pittsburgh, SMU. I'm going the over. We were so down on Pittsburgh, and we were so high on SMU coming into the season, and these things are kind of reversed. I mean, Narduzzi's got these guys playing like crazy, and they're scoring a ton of points, and everybody. SMU's defense is pretty good and cause for concern here. But it might end up, as you said, with Preston Stone here throwing 5 interceptions to one team for pick sixes or throwing for 500 yards for his own. We're a little bit nervous about the SMU thing, but there's something about night games and unders that I just can't get behind.
Yeah, especially in college. In the NFL, definitely primetime unders for sure. But
if
college,
it's a night game at like LSU against Georgia or whatever, then that thing's going to be 10-7. But all the other ones, I'm expecting 100 points.
Tyson, I can't believe I'm doing this to myself, but I'm laying 7 with Auburn. Now, it's an alt line here, minus 130 on DraftKings. Again, I want to get to that chance that we can push, especially with this Auburn team, for Christ's sake. I don't even know if we should be laying margin. But I'm going to do it here against the Vanderbilt team. They're banged up. I know they're a fun story, and oh my God, they almost beat Texas again last week, and look at them. Pavia's banged up. It's not the same, and when he can't use his legs, or I think he's going to be a little bit hindered. The arm all of a sudden isn't quite as good, and it's been a fun story, Tyson. We know the Vanderbilt thing. They're playing an SEC schedule. This thing can go off the rails. Auburn actually looked good last week for the first time in a long time. They're fighting to play a college football bowl game, Tyson. I mean, they need this. It's a big recruiting thing for them to be playing in the bowl game. Power ratings have it at 10 and 8. Auburn 73rd in EPA per rush. I can't believe they're 49th in EPA per pass when you watch that offense. And I think the running game's actually been improved. Going up against a defense that's 83rd and 73rd. So I think they're going to be able to move the football. Then on the flip side, Vandy 40th in EPA per rush, 12th in EPA per pass. I think those take a hit this week. They're banged up. They've been successful, but Pavia, he's dealing with injuries. And Auburn 73rd and 72nd in the EPA basis on both sides of the football. I'm having a hard time seeing that. Auburn's defense has been the only thing that's been good that I've noticed from this team. So I think that they're a little undervalued here, especially playing at home. Vanderbilt coming off an emotional letdown loss. So give me Auburn -7.
And you say Auburn's like fighting for a bowl. I don't want to put it out in the universe, but if Vanderbilt loses this game and they're sitting there with 5 wins with South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee left on the schedule, then you start to wonder, like, was this whole thing going to result in no bowl game? We're not even going to really think about that right now. I think Georgia's going to put the boots to Florida this weekend. This is something I teetered with for my play of the week. I think Georgia is going to blow these guys out. It's sitting at -14 or at -122 on DraftKings right now. This is a Georgia team that, like the last time we saw them, they were destroying Texas. They just got all their swagger back, all that stuff. You welcome in a overrated or maybe overperforming to this point, I guess, a little bit, Florida Gators team to your house. This is an opportunity to send a message. That Texas game wasn't a fluke. Carson Beck used the bye to get ready, maybe not look like he should be a 5th-round pick instead of the number 1 overall pick people were saying. I think Georgia wins this game by 100.
Well, we are simpatico, my friend, because I'm taking it too. We're going to alt line, like Tyson said on DraftKings. I am a little nervous with this. Now, it's the largest outdoor cocktail party being played in Jacksonville. This is a series that has been dominated by the favorites. Now, Georgia's a huge favorite here. In the past, Florida's been the huge favorite, the Urban Meyer years and yada, yada. Recently, Georgia has the baton as the best team. Suggests they should win. And like you said, Georgia's off the bye, so is Florida. But I think that benefits the Bulldogs. Give Carson Beck just like, dude, you got to just simplify everything here. And then Travis Etienne, the running back, or Trevor Etienne, right? He's going up against his old team in Florida. So there's going to be some motivation there. He's finally the guy in the backfield. They're 4th in EPA per rush, 17th in EPA per pass. Tyson, they're going up against a defense that's 49th and 79th. Like, I think Carson Beck finally doesn't turn the football over, eats a little bit on the secondary. And then Florida, like you said, they've been overperforming. But DJ Lagway, we like him as a future guy. But a freshman going up against Kirby with a week off, week to prepare against this defense, they're already 44th in EPA per rush, 35th in EPA per pass. They played a tough schedule, so they definitely overperformed. But Georgia's 4th and 14th. I think they got their swagger back, like you said. So we're simpatico, Georgia -14.
So do you think that Army is just going to try to score 1 billion points against a bad Air Force team this weekend? Like, is that kind of the vibe you're getting too, or are you going against me on this one? Because I'm taking Army -21.5 here. So they're playing at home, I guess. But it's a interesting matchup here. The 2 service academies going at it. I said earlier that I thought Air Force maybe had more recent success. I was blinded by last year, folks. They stink this season. I think Army's going to just put the boots to them. Everybody that hoped, like us, that Navy would beat Notre Dame, we can just go ahead and jump ship here to the other service academy and put it off. So let's go Army.
Well, Tyson, I think you knew it was coming. I'm taking Air Force +22 on DraftKings. That's -110. So Tyson's got a number. There's a chance he wins, I push, yada, yada. But boy, you mentioned last year. Remember, it was Air Force, like you said, who was the better team. They were the 6-1 team. Army was awful. They were laying something similar to this. Army almost won the freaking game.
They did.
I mean, that's just what happens when these service academies play. I'm throwing out. You guys know, if you've listened to me for a couple of weeks or all season, I love to look at these advanced stats. Everything points to Army blowing them out. The problem is, Air Force knows how to defend this triple option. They all run it. Like, this is not like we're catching you by surprise here. So I'm going to take the points. Now, Air Force is historically bad. I've never seen a Troy Taylor team or a Troy Calhoun team look this bad. The quarterback play is awful. They can't move the football. And normally, they're the ones who had the forward-thinking, throw the ball down the field type of deal. And so maybe that comes back this week. I don't know. I just think with the low total as well, we're going to see Air Force maybe get the last gasp here, Tyson. Whoa, we need this one. So I think they cover the number at 22.
Last gasp to lose by 3 touchdowns. This is a principal play for the show. This is something that we have to do, or I have to do. I'm going with Penn State +3.5 this weekend at home. This is the worst time this game could possibly be. Like the schedule makers, why? Why can't we get this one at night? Because that's one of the ones where we know it's ending 17-10 or whatever in some dramatic fashion. You see the flag behind Brad. He's a Penn State alumnus. This is when LSU has a game like this, he sits here and tells me how confident I need to be, and he puts his money down, so I'm doing the same thing for him. I know that James Franklin doesn't beat teams. Like he's 1-9 or whatever in games. Is it top 5?
Something like that. Yeah, and it's virtually all against Ohio State.
And Ryan Day's 2-6. So I'm not afraid of the coaching matchup here. I think that Penn State is ridiculously banged up and all of that stuff. Dude, they're just going to come out there and win this football game. That's all they're going to do. I don't have anything else for you. They're just going to find a way to win.
I like the way you think, Tyson. I got to say, I'm glad. See, now he's the voice of reason here. So I'll move on to my next one. Arizona UCF over 55.5. That's minus 115 on BetMGM. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think last week, Tyson, Arizona finally figured out we have the best wide receiver in the country. Let's use him. And he was unbelievable. McMillan was great. I mean, he almost single-handedly won that game. I think Fafita looked a little bit more comfortable. This defense, though, what do we say, Arizona? They're banged up. They're hurt. They got blasted, like just every which way by West Virginia. And if UCF doesn't have to run the football, they ain't gonna. And this could be explosive. So over 55.5, it's a defense that's susceptible through the air as well. 76th in defending the pass on EPA basis. Now, Arizona is not necessarily great at 50th, but I think they found their bread and butter last week. Like, guys, we need to win football games. We got 3 wins to get to bowl eligible. We need to win 3 out of 4. Let's feed our best player. Like, it's let's not do anything rocket science wise. And these are defenses, Tyson, for the over. You know, I love looking at this. They both give up explosive plays. UCF 102nd and Echo on defense. Now, Arizona's only 119th. Like, it's just not been good. But if you're going up against the defense that's 102nd, like, you can get plays, and that's what we're going to see. And then UCF 59th and Echo against a defense that's 117th. Like, I think we see them march up and down the field in this one.
Has there ever been a team that's been favored this many times in a stretch where they lose 5 games in a row? Like, UCF is just the favorite on the money line every week, and it's just
I know.
What are we doing here? Shout out to UCF. That's awesome. I don't know if they're like in with the sports book or something. I'm going with Illinois at home here against your boy PJ and the boat rowers over in Minnesota. I think that last week Illinois got dogged by a much better football team, and this might be a bit of a body blow theory where they're coming back and they just got beat up so bad that they're not going to have it in them. I don't think Minnesota's good enough for that to matter. I think Illinois is better. I think Oregon's ability to take away some of the throws was just something that Minnesota can't do, and I think that Illinois at home gets this thing done, and we're sitting at plus 125 on the money line.
You love yourself some Illinois.
I do.
That's for sure. I do have to. No, okay, never mind. I was looking at the wrong thing here. Okay, Tyson, how about this? This is kind of a bread and butter play for us here. I'm taking South Carolina plus 3.5 minus 118 on FanDuel. Now, everybody's talking about A&M. Now, this is not the A&M from the Jimbo Fisher era where we're like, oh my God, they lose this game. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. But I'm getting the hook here on FanDuel. I think that's perfect. Texas A&M's coming off a huge one. It's the signature win in the era of Mike Elko beating LSU. How'd they do it? Nussmeier all of a sudden turned just into just throwing picks left and right. It was strange. Like, it was like weird interceptions too. And they put in the backup QB, Marcel Reed, and he ran all over him. 4 touchdowns. I hear everybody ripping on Brian Kelly. How do you not adjust? If you haven't been prepping for it, first of all, he's not a defensive coach. Like, it's just so absurd the lengths people go to. But anyway, talking about this game, power ratings wise, it has it at them getting 1 point or them being favored by a half point, South Carolina, the Gamecocks. I think they figured something out coming off the bye, Tyson. And this is a South Carolina offense, actually, that's been much better than anticipated. 39th knee paper rush, 61st knee paper pass. Now, A&M's defense is good, 8th and 17th, but I think we're going to see some interesting stuff here on the offensive side for A&M. As Wigman bought in, South Carolina now sees how to stop Reed. Like, I think they're going to go both quarterbacks here. So I like South Carolina with the points, with the hook especially. I know they're talking about Cocktober. I think it's Cockvember here. Let's go Beamer and the boys. Gamecocks roll plus 3.5.
Just a little cock talk here. What was South Carolina's best defensive performance this season?
Oh, man.
Oklahoma.
Pull it up. Oklahoma. Oh, yeah. Is that fair?
Well, all I'm saying is that's a team that wanted to run the read option, wanted to run the quarterback and use an athlete that couldn't really throw the football. And we don't know necessarily. I mean, when you only have to attempt 1 pass, he came in and ran for 1 billion yards. Blake Baker couldn't adjust. All that stuff's really fun to find out 2 weeks before you play Jalen Milroe. But anyways, I do think that South Carolina has there's some precedent that, like, if if Wigman doesn't go, or if they do use both quarterbacks, they're better equipped than most to deal with an athletic QB.
Yeah, no, that's a good point there. All right, I'm liking the pick even more. You done? Is that it?
That's all I got. Did you have more for me?
I got 3 more here. So first, let's go to a bread and butter play. Let me see if I can find it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, folks. Louisville, Clemson over 62, minus 112. DraftKings. You knew it, right? You knew it had to come. Now, Clemson's been actually very solid on the defensive end. After the Georgia game, we expect that. It's always a good defense. So 62, that's a huge number. This Clemson offense can go. I mean, Cade Klubnik might be able to put up video game numbers. They're coming off a bye, know how to attack this bad Louisville defense. Like, Tyson, I'm flabbergasted when I'm looking 34th and 24th and 58th, stopping the run and pass on an EPA basis. This Louisville defense, is anybody watching? I'm kind of shocked by that. And so Clemson's offense is 20th and 24th in EPA per rush and pass. They're going to be able to move the football. But I think this is the best offense that Clemson's faced, Tyson. Like, we both got screwed. Me on a live play, you on a pre-flop play with Clemson playing Virginia, because Virginia all of a sudden looked like they were Don Coryell-led Chargers team. Like, they were throwing the ball over this defense. I think Louisville's better. I think we're going to see points. I mean, Clemson could maybe score 50. Look what Boston College just did to them last week. So I think this is a fireworks show.
I was so close to being on this with you, but I feel like I've been on the wrong side of every Clemson play that I've had this entire season, and I really felt like it was the over. So I had a feeling you were going here, and I didn't want to put my stink on it.
All right, now I'm already mad at myself for this. I'm disgusted. It's Tennessee minus 17.5, minus 110 against Kentucky. Tyson, are we sure Kentucky did not just give up? And I hate using that. They look awful. I mean, just so bad. Mark Stoops, we knew was maybe going to be like questionable with the whole A&M thing and coming back to Kentucky. And they kind of circled the wagons, right? Oh, we almost did it against Georgia. We're in it. And this thing has gone off the rails. Like, this offense is disgusting to watch. 47th in EPA per rush, 82nd in EPA per pass. Now, Tennessee has massively regressed from what we thought they were. Not in terms of their defense. They're first in stopping the run, which is Kentucky's strength. 5th in stopping the pass, which is what Kentucky struggles at. So if they're not going to be able to move the ball through the air, Tyson, Tennessee, I think, can roll here. The offense has got to be improved, right? Like, there's just no way it stays this bad. They're 9th in EPA per rush, 46th in EPA per pass. Sure, Kentucky's defense is good, but holy smokes. I think this is a smash spot here for Tennessee.
I hope so. I want Heupel and the boys to just keep running this thing up. But this is an offense that's barely even shown us they can score 17 points. The last few weeks, it feels like. So I was scared of this one.
How about 21-0? Can we get that?
Yeah. I mean, 18-0 is fine.
Last one here for me, Tyson. You thought you were carrying the show. You thought you were doing something that I need to do. I'm taking Penn State money line plus 192 on FanDuel.
I feel horrible about my play because whenever we're with each other on Penn State is when something bad happened.
No, I got to say, this isn't a sharp handicap at all. This is a complete emotional play. But I'm wearing this Penn State shirt. This is the first whiteout shirt that I got when I arrived on campus. So I still have it. It's not the whiteout game. It's supposed to be the late night game. It's not. It's going to be a big noon kickoff. Unfortunate, but we were talking about this. This has to be the time when Penn State knocks them off, right? Like, Ohio State's in shambles. It's supposedly, they didn't look good against Nebraska. Are they saving something? They're banged up. Penn State's banged up. This is just mano-a-mano. Somebody's got to get it done. Last time Penn State won was in 2016, my sophomore year of college. It's been a while since I've graduated now, but 8 years, Tyson. Once in a decade type of thing. We're getting close. So I think Penn State gets the monkey off their back. We said, this team feels different. In the past, they would have lost that USC game. They would have lost to Wisconsin in a big spot before Ohio State when the starting quarterback goes down, one of your best edge rushers goes down. I think Drew Aller is going to play. All signs point to that. I think they're going to run stuff with Bo Perbula, a different type of offense that gives him a different look. So I think that's actually better instead of them just coming in and running gadget stuff. Like, he's going to have his own playbook. That's what Franklin said, which will be super fascinating to see. And then Abdul Carter, this is the time to make your name, son. Left tackle's out for Ohio State. Go get after Will Howard. He's talking shit already. Oh, Ohio State or Penn State didn't recruit me. 3-star athlete. Bro, you weren't good enough to play here. You got to show him that he wasn't. Got the transfer into Ohio State. This is the time Penn State can go get him. Money line plus 192, emotional play.
I thought that was a hilarious quote because it was like, well, Ohio State didn't want you to eat like the first time either. Like you didn't go anywhere. It didn't Drew Aller grow up an Ohio State fan? Or did I make that up?
Well, he grew up in Ohio, in Medina.
Okay, so that's what maybe both these quarterbacks, like, playing against their childhood teams, it just cancels out, really.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so. Oh, we'll see, Tyson. I got some friends coming into town this weekend, so it should be good. We're going to a Penn State bar. We will cry together. We'll cry in victory or defeat. We'll be drinking in victory or defeat. That's for sure.
Yeah, just crying in a beer. It's all the same, really. But while Brad's hopefully crying victorious, happy tears into probably like a nice Guinness or something. It's 150 degrees where you live. I don't know, something light. But it'll be a ton of live plays in our Discord. So go ahead and hop in there. It's in the link is in the bio. The group name is I Said What I Said. Tons of different channels in there. NBA stuff just started up. We have college football, obviously, the NFL, the NHL, whatever you can think of. There's plays in there. Just a fun little group, and we got a nice little community. It's free. Come in there, send a gift, and make fun of us.
Absolutely. Hopefully there isn't much to make fun of going forward. But on the show side, like, subscribe, and share. Again, we'll be back early next week. We know we dropped the ball a little bit, but life stuff, and Tyson's getting sick, and I had stuff to do. So it kind of is what it is, but we got a lot to share early, our thought process, what happened in the NFL, what happened in college. And so subscribe so you don't miss that. Smash the like button on the way out of YouTube. We have our NFL bets episode coming in later. So make sure to tune into that, and we'll speak to you guys then. Peace.